The next two areas I would like you to consider are white space and colour theory. Now, these are enormous topics and well beyond the remit of your D1 task, but it's important that you show an understanding of these when justifying your design decisions. Let's start by looking at white space first of all and defining what it is. White space is the spacing between the elements of your design. Just to confuse things, white space doesn't need to be white. It's simply space in which you don't have anything. It's the space that molds and the space that holds all of the elements within your design. So the space that's filled, the space in which you have elements, buttons, menus, submenus and so on, that's called positive space. And the negative space is everything else. So you have this relationship that happens between the pair of them. The negative space defines the positive space. It holds it. It's not negative. Let's have a look at Google and their latest redesign, and helpfully their white space actually is white. But this is the Google homepage, which is hugely simple. It's just got the Google logo and a search box, and then a couple of boxes beneath it. And then you look at the Google apps, and again it's very, very simple icons with very striking colours, and there's an awful lot of white space. And when you think they've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they've got what, 15, 14 different elements there in quite a small space, and yet it looks really well spaced out, and that's because there's lots of white space there. It's got a very clean design. So white space is really important because it makes the whole app, or in this case the series of apps, look really uncluttered in the way that they're presented. This is an example that's often cited. If you focus on the black area on the screen, you see two faces. If you focus on the white area, you see a vase. And this just shows you negative, positive space. There's this interrelationship between the two. And in this case, you can invert them and get two different images. So it's a bit of a gimmick, but it does show you that the white space helps to mold the image. Alright, so the next thing we're going to have a look at is colour theory. And as I said earlier, colour theory goes way beyond what we're going to talk about in this course. And if you were doing art or photography, you'd be getting into far more detail about colour theory. But let's just give you a quick starter. In the middle there you can see the colour wheel, and the colour wheel has all of the different colours. And you can see on the right hand side indications of the sorts of colours that go together. So first of all, you've got the primary colours, blue, yellow and red, and you can see there at sort of at third intersections on the colour wheel. Then you've got the analogous colours, the colours that are next to each other, and they tend to go together as well. And when I say go together, I mean they work together whether you're wearing them with clothes or whether you're putting it into an app. It just works. You've got the hues, but I'm looking at the secondary and the complementary. They also work together. And you've also got opposite colours, the complementary ones. So in this example, you've got the yellow and the purple, and those will go together. And then you can look down and see the split complementary. So the colour wheel gives you an indication of the sorts of colours that work together. And designers often use a colour wheel or variants of in order to build the colours of their app. If you look at the logos on this next screen, the MasterCard uses the analogous colours. You've got the purple and the red, which are right next to each other. The Krispy Kremes goes with green and with red, and you can see those two are complementary. They're opposite each other on the colour wheel. And you can see that the Apple logo, bottom right there, well, they simply gone for all of the colours next to each other from blue all the way round to red and green. So these logos demonstrate to you that there's a degree of colour theory that's been applied to all of the logos and all of the apps that you look at. So when you're building your app for Justin, think about the colours that are going to work well together. Now in the case of Justin, I know that he will have told you that as a Manchester United fan, which obviously is a dreadful shame, but as a Man United fan, he likes the notion of black and red working together. But it's up to you to think about what combination is going to work and what will be easiest to read. And don't forget, we're not just talking about the background colours, we're talking about the text choice as well. And the text is something we'll come on to later, but let's just leave it that the text colour is something else that you will need to consider, as well as any background or any other element that you want to introduce to your app.